Hey, how you doing? We're going to talk about the history of the Neshaminy Mall, and I'm starting out here because I grew up across the street from the mall, so I have been at this mall more times than I'd care to admit. I am literally a mall rat when I was a kid, so I would walk up the sign here and come behind it, and then let's turn here, Chris. By the way, Chris is filming. This was all field. All field. So let's walk up here and we're going to talk about the Neshaminy Mall. Now, it wouldn't have looked like this. Like I said, this would have been all field. You would have saw Sears right here as we're going to go up to Sears. But this giant AMC movie theater, no, that came in 1998. And Chris, do you remember waiting in a line here to get your tickets for the Phantom Menace?
I do not, because I did not.
You did not. I played hooky from work. I lined up here, and we had so many people here to line up and see the Phantom Menace, which turned out to be the biggest disappointment. But yeah, I was depressed for weeks after watching the Phantom Menace. So again, I would have walked up here. This would have been all field, all the way up, probably, not sure how far, but pretty far up here would be field. This is the first location. Let's pause this. We're going to go to location 2, which is the outside of Sears. So the mall opened, the grand opening was August 19th, 1968. The architect was Victor Gruen, and the mall only had 2 anchor stores. Sears was one of them. If, Chris, you want to look that way, over there we have what used to be the auto center. That's where you came, you got your tires, you get your car repaired. That's a ghost town. But Sears, this area here, that used to be the garden center. You remember that, Chris?
Absolutely, I do. They had a Pac-Man machine in there.
That's right. So what you would do in this case is, this would have been like fence here, like a gate, and you could smell like the potted soil when you walked in. The fertilizer, yeah. So this is not original. This would have been a fenced-in area, and you would walk straight back into there, and that's where they had the toy section. That's where you would play the Atari. They would have it out there, and you could play the Atari. That's right. It was the Sears version of Atari. It was the Sears arcade system or something like that. Yeah. Now that really is that Sears. It wasn't Atari, it's just that Sears put their brand on it. That was a big thing Sears did a lot of. You can notice that the brick's definitely different here. It's lighter than when you look over here. But yeah, this would have been where I always went in. I think the Star Wars figures were there as well. Well, what would be another famous Sears exclusive would have been the blue Snaggletooth set. That was a Sears only. Now this is where, if you worked here, you could enter here, and that would just go straight back. But this was also like where it used to be the catalog pickup, and eventually became like returns and things like that, until they made everybody do returns. But the funniest story I have here is one time a deer went nuts. Not kidding. And it ran here and it jumped through this glass doors here and the windows, bleeding everywhere. So yeah, but we're gonna go in here to this wing. This will be our next stop. That's going to be the AMC wing, which didn't exist. They added some of this later, because you would come in over here. So if you look here, the entrance actually was over here. Okay. See where the wall is? That makes sense. Where it connects there, that's all new there until you see the darker brick. Okay. That's the original front. So now we're in the AMC wing of Neshaminy Mall. You can look over here is the 24 screens. Again, this opened in 1998. I guess they thought it would be a draw. At this point, you can see how dead this is. I don't know if anybody's going to the movie theater anymore. Behind you, Chris, this used to be Manny Brown's, I believe?
Yeah, I got drunk there.
Yeah, used to go to the movies and then we'd come out and we would go here. Yeah, so we're gonna move to the actual original opening or entrance to this mall. So let's go through this thing. Now, I don't know why they did this. This door is this wall they built. So let's go in and follow me. This, I feel we're still outside. And if you look, I believe here, if we go over here, if you want to come, hopefully they don't throw me out. This would have been the outside wall here, right? Well, anyway, this area, this would have been the opening here. So you would have came in here, and this would have been Premier Twin. But, you know, I believe that the Premier Twin actually was a single movie theater first, and then it got to the Premier Twin. It eventually became a Modell's,
Oh, that was horrible.
Modell's Sporting Goods. And if we look here, you can see inside, I don't know if you'll be able to see with the lights, but this is the old Modell's, but this was the movie theater. And across here would have been Spaceport. Spaceport, I can't tell you how many quarters. I always said, like, when I die, I want to know how much money I spent in Spaceport. But this is where I spent most of my time, was at Spaceport. The other thing we got to mention is this look of it. Let's take a look here. See this down here? Yeah. This blue, I didn't bring this up, but the word Neshaminy is a Lenape Indian,
believe, yes.
Or Native American word. It means,
Jones over here.
do you know what it means?
I do not.
It means double drinking space, and it doesn't mean two-fisting beers. No, there's two springs here, and what a better way to celebrate nature than to pave over it,
Right,
and build a mall.
With a consumer mall.
So this blue, you'll see this a lot. This is to represent running water when they redid this, but originally it was all bricks here. We would, and I have a lot of pictures I'm going to put in here.
Brick cigarette.
Yep, so they had plants and trees, and you'd smoke your cigarette and you put it out in the plants. If you're watching and you have any photos of the things we're talking about,
Especially what's coming up.
yeah, scan it and put it in the Facebook group, because I'm going to put this in the Facebook group, and I want to see every picture you have of Neshaminy Mall, the old Neshaminy Mall, and
real one.
this one. Well, we would have had a Smalls tuxedo over here as well.
I remember that.
This is where if you went to prom, you would have went to Smalls tuxedo. I did not go either.
Nobody will believe that.
No one liked me, no one asked me. But up here would have been Pampered Pup.
Oh.
The Pampered Pup would have been right here. The Pampered Pup, I want pictures. I have found no photos in my searches for the Pampered Pup. Now, before we get to the Pampered Pup, this hallway is original here. The mall offices, let's actually take a walk down here. No, the flooring's not original. The hallway was here, though.
Yes, it was.
That one over there, I don't think was. But this, you can look, this is all the pictures that they did. Yeah. But up here where it's customer service, and then there's the bathrooms are back here, and there was some nasty stuff that happened in those bathrooms. Some awful things on the walls.
And in the cans.
And someday I want to come here and ask if they have any papers that I can, like maybe the old mall layout.
They have to have a
Right. Before this place gets destroyed, I want to make sure we get.
They have to have.
Yeah. All right. So behind me would be Pampered Pup. So you would have been at Spaceport playing your games. You have to get a Pampered Pup. You go up here, and then because you love games so much, across from here there was 3 arcade games that would be here as well. One of them was Jungle Hunt, which I loved. Right here, do you know what this store would have led you to? Sam Goody. Sam Goody. This was it actually was an entrance. It wasn't like a secret entrance. It was an entrance. You would go to Sam Goody. This was the side entrance.
All the movies and
Yep. And when you walked in here, if you walked in and went right to your left, they would have the keyboards, like the Casio keyboards there, and they would have the music books so you can learn how to play. So this was all there. Now over here, I don't know, do you remember what was here? It could have been a jewelry store.
Was it a shoe store? Was it Ked?
No, well, I don't know if it was, because Kinney Shoes was here.
Okay,
Which is weird. That Sam Goody went behind the Kinney Shoes. So let's go through here. All right. I actually have a photo I'm going to post of this specific area, and you would see a Kinney Shoes right here.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And then next to it where we had, I guess it was FWE,
Yeah.
that was Sam Goody. Sam Goody was there. And I think that was like a glasses store there.
I think you may be correct, sir.
And then, of course, we had Sears here. And even Sears, when they did the rebranding, they did their new name up there. You can almost see it's still there.
It didn't look as good as the original.
Yeah, but that was the opening to Sears. Here in this corner was the pet store. Do you remember what was it? Dr. Pets. This is where I didn't meet. I saw the woman who was obsessed with Linda Blair and Jesus. So this girl used to come to this mall, and she would have this denim jacket with "I love Linda Blair and Jesus" and all this stuff on it. But this was the pet store next to the.
Bedazzled, if I
It was bedazzled, that's correct. Next to it was Cutler Camera. Cutler Camera would have been where you went to get your film developed. When we used to shoot our little 8mm films, or Super 8, this is where we would come to get it developed. Then I believe it was a Rite Aid, right? It was a...
Thrift drugs.
Oh, Thrift Drugs, you're right. There was Thrift Drugs would have been right here. I mean, this whole area is Barnes & Noble now. And then there was a bank here. And that bank, yep, it was right on the corner. Yep. So you would have come out of Sears and the bank was right here. This used to be an exit from the mall here. This would have been the bank. This led outside. I don't know what it is now. Yeah, they just, it's interesting that this used to be much wider to go out, and that would have been an exit there. This used to be a place where a lot of the Sears employees would also come out to smoke cigarettes here.
Yeah, 'cause that's cool.
There is a Hallmark here. There was a Hallmark store here. It wasn't specifically here. I think it was a little bit around here. I worked there when in high school. They sold Hallmark. I don't think it was called Hallmark. You're right.
It was called something else.
Yeah, I forget what it was called. But the big thing that was here was Walden Books.
Which I miss so bad.
Walden Books, I used to go in here, and Walden Books was where I would go and look at the Fangoria magazines that came out. That's where I saw the first magazine. Which one was it? With American Werewolf in London. What issue? 13 or?
14.
14. Issue 14 of Fangoria. And if anybody has it and wants to donate it to me, feel free. But yeah, this would have been Walden Books over here. Speaking of Creepshow, I saw that here as well, but I didn't get kicked out. I went with my brother and his friend. I was, what, 13? We would have been?
It came out in 82. I was 12.
Oh, 12. I would have been 12. And it was the first R-rated movie I got into.
And a good R-rated movie.
That's right. Over here, we would have had some men's clothing stores. There was one called National Shirt. There was...
Where was County Seat up here?
I think it was further up, but there was a couple here. There was National Shirt. His Place was one. But a lot of there were clothing here. We are now at the big center of the mall. This is where Woolworths was. You might want to come over. Yeah. Woolworths was here. This is, I remember my big memories walking in during Halloween, and they'd have all the Ben Cooper costumes right here as soon as you walked in. And next to it, the Harvest House.
Oh, so good.
Right, which I think my sister worked at a place called Hot Shops. Did that become Hot Shops?
Hot Shops was down here.
Okay.
Hot Shops became York Steakhouse.
Okay. But this, if you turn here, this was the actual entrance. This food court did not exist. This is in the 90s that they built this food court. This would have been the opening to the mall here. You would have had Woolworths, the Harvest House here. And here was, I think, Donuts Galore, which eventually became some kind of bagel place. I remember working at Sears, and I remember going and I ordered, it must have been a new kid on the job, and I ordered a bagel with cream cheese. He cut it, and while he's cutting it, he slices his hand, but he doesn't stop working, probably because he's afraid, I just started working. And he hands me a bloody bagel with cream cheese, and I was like, ugh! And then the woman came out, and she said, "What are you doing, you idiot? Get back there." So, Donuts Galore. And I think that was maybe a jewelry place over there.
It was.
Let's take a walk up this way. Not much in this little wing, I remember, except for, actually, I don't know, Hot Topic's here now, but that wasn't. I don't think I stopped much in this area. No, that's further down. I don't remember much being here at all in this section. From here to where we're going. What's that? Fluff and stuff, but I still think that was down the next.
No, it was right about past this sign.
All right, so Fluff and Stuff is was a stuffed animal store. And if you notice, we're not talking about these stores that came and went maybe in the 90s or the 2000s. We don't really care about that. All right, so this is probably one of the biggest things here. This actually was sculpted by Henry Mitchell, who actually has a lot of sculptures throughout the Philadelphia area. Henry Mitchell is very well known for animals. There's a giraffe in a park near Oxford Circle that he used negative space for the spots on the giraffe. But the Native American here is Lenape Indian. Lenape. I've heard it said both ways, but again, this is the Neshaminy theme going on here. This is probably the one thing that Chris and I always say, what is going to happen to this? There's plans to demolish this mall, or part of the mall.
To this work of art.
Yeah, so this should not be destroyed, I don't know. But
Preserved somehow.
interesting enough, this was not here when it was built in 1968. This was dedicated by Strawbridge and Clothier in 1970. So 2 years, they had a sort of modern art looking fountain here, and I'll put the pictures in, but they were like white. They were like white, sort of very modern art looking fountain. But in 1970, Strawbridge and Clothier donated this, and that's why it's here. Quickly, right over here used to be, when I was in high school, a sunglasses shop where you would buy very expensive Oakleys and things. I never could afford any sunglasses. And there you go, there's the sign that shows you that it was 1970 when they put this sign here and this fountain.
Now let's talk about Strawbridge's. Above the fountain, there used to be a restaurant. Here's some great photos of the restaurant. Everybody excited. Now it's a ghost town. When Strawbridge's failed, Macy's took over, and then Macy's failed. And again, we're back to being a ghost town. Here's an artist rendition when the mall first opened. That's the Freedom Wall. Here's a real photo. The Freedom Wall were a series of dioramas that were animated. They had sound, they had little plaques. Here's some pictures of some of these. There's only 3 left in the mall. I don't know what will happen to those, but the other 4 were rescued by the Bensalem Historic Society. I think they're in the Bensalem Municipal Building now. I'm not sure if they're available to see, but I know that 4 were rescued, which is awesome. This is a view looking out, and this is what is currently left. The last 3 dioramas.
So in 1975, they added this wing to the Neshaminy Mall because they added one more store, and that was Lit Brothers. That was 1975. This wing is added, Lit Brothers is added, but Lit Brothers is in financial trouble and goes out of business in 1977. It is then replaced with Boscov's.
No.
Not Boscov's, Pomeroy's. It was
Bonton first?
No, it was Pomeroy's first in 1977, then Bonton, then Boscov's, which is now there. And I remember being a child going to school, because I lived across the street, as I said. We would drive up past the outdoors of Pomeroy's. I remember them putting those letters on each day, and I was like, what is it going to spell? All right, so we're going to talk about some really awesome places that were here. Over here was a pizza shop called Café Riviera. Café Riviera, I can't tell you how many times I spent there having their pizza. Roy Rogers was somewhere. Now over here would have been, I believe here, was Spencer's, and it still has the newer facade. But Spencer's is where all the kids would go to learn about sex. Yeah, see all the sex toys and the girls in their bikinis, hauling ass, you know. All those posters used to be in the very far back right, and you would just go through those posters and look at those. Now over here would have been originally listening booth.
Wall to wall.
It was listening booth, then it changed to wall to wall, and then it became just the wall, I think.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot, oh, by the way, here's one I didn't bring up, because I worked at so many places. Earlier we talked about the Hallmark store I worked at, Sears I worked at. At the corner here was a place called Turks. Turks sold like luggage and lighters and leather goods. That would have been Turks there that I worked at.
They had those statues of the Three Stooges. And
Yes, they did. The big bobblehead statues they would sell of different celebrities, movie stars. So as we mentioned, we had Café Riviera, we had The Wall, which was wall-to-wall sound and video listening booth, but there was also Suncoast Video was here, I believe right around this area. I did work there as well. But let's move on to our next location. Now, Chris and I are debating about this right now, whether this was the location of Corkies. I swear 100% Corkies was here. He thinks it might have been around the other side. But Corkies was, as Chris always likes to say, the Mos Eisley Cantina. We were never old enough to go into Corkies before it closed, but you would walk through and there'd be this dark entrance to this bar, Corkies. So if you have any photos of Corkies, please scan them in, post them in the Facebook group. Yeah, we'd love to see that. Let's walk this way. There's not much. There's a couple things. I believe Spencer's might have been down here. I can hold your drink, actually. I could be wrong about that being the new Spencer's, but it might have originally been right here. where this Zen Spa is. But yeah, I believe Spencer's was right here where the Zen Spa was. Yeah, it's somewhere in this area would have been Spencer's. And then this was FWE, but I don't remember what it was before that. Friendly's I thought was the Bricks.
What it is?
Yeah, that's the Bricks is Friendly's.
That's right.
That was ice cream. We used to get the Jim Dandy. That was the one that I was always. And then where Boscov's Petites is, that's KB Toys. KB Toys used to be here. I worked there as well. I actually worked there at 17 years old as an assistant manager.
Where you could have got all the Power of the Force figures.
Yes, I could have. I was there. Well, I worked there before, during the Power of the Force time. I worked here at KB Toys. I was 16, and then when I got promoted to like assistant manager. And then right over here was Bavarian Pretzels. Was right over here. I had a shoe repair store. I don't remember what was on the corner here. Again, this would have been Pomeroy's. Down here on the left, if you remember, if you went into the mall, there would be people trying to take surveys, and they would pay you to answer questions. And if you got picked, they would take you down here into an office down here on the left, and that's where you would have your survey. Excuse me, sir. Do you have time to take a survey on beer? Free beer. All right. All right, we're going to quickly make our way back over here, but I wanted to point out that that corner, and you can actually still see if we get closer, it says Models. That actually is AMC Premier Twins outside wall, because they did make it a Models.
Remember when you could enter Woolworth right here?
Yep, and yes, you could have entered Woolworths over here. But we'll go right here, and you'll see the wall where it says Models Sporting Goods right there. You can still see that faintly on the wall.
Yes.
That is the corner. That would have been and this did not exist here, but that would have been the wall, and that would have been the Premier Twin Theater. And that probably would have been a movie theater emergency exit there. All right, our final stop is where the totem pole used to stand, somewhere in this area behind me. And this, actually there was a sign that originally was here that was destroyed in a storm. And so the totem pole came in after that, which was 1973, and it was here, a beautiful totem pole. I loved it. But then when they redid the whole mall with those blue lines on the floor, they redid the totem pole. They redid it and made it like this blue wave Neshaminy Mall.
Took out the Indian connotations.
Yeah, all the Native American stuff that was on the original totem pole, they wiped that out and then just used the running water theme that they have inside the mall.
Yes, it sucked.
Yeah, it did suck. I wish we had the original somewhere, but I'm sure it was thrown away. So that's it. If you have any photos of the Neshaminy Mall, please scan them, put them on the Facebook group. I'll make sure there's a link below for the Facebook group where you can post all your photos. So thanks.